you've lived on a farm, it's hard to understand just how stressful that lifestyle can be. Depression, even suicide are more common than you'd think.
But here in Minnesota, there is hope. We are the only state in the country that funds a full-time therapist for farmers. Tonight, Amy Hockert introduces us to the man simply known as Ted.
There's a solitude in these fields that suits most farmers just fine. It's a way of life that values less talking, more doing.
We have the 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year job.
The work is grueling. There are no sick days, no excuses, and these days, no cash flow.
For many of us in the dairy industry, we go every day knowing that we're not making a profit.
Paul Wright runs a small dairy farm near Hutchinson. He says even when they're doing everything right, farmers are still at the mercy of the weather, family dynamics, the markets, and loan officers. Depression is actually common, but so is denial.
Taking care of yourself is on the bottom of the list.
That toll has gone from a problem to an epidemic. According to the CDC, in 2016, farming saw the most suicides of any profession. As startling as that sounds, experts say it's actually worse.
For every suicide that happens, there's 25 attempts.
Ted Matthews hasn't farmed a day in his life, but few people know more about desperation on the farm. Ted is a psychologist, the only one in the country whose job is to travel the state providing counseling to farmers.
Truthfully, as high as the rate is, it's even higher than the statistics that they show, because some farm accidents are actually suicides. Now, how many? Obviously, we could never prove that because they're accidents, but all farmers know that happens.
Over the years, Ted has talked with hundreds of farmers, but they don't consider him a therapist. To them, he's just Ted.
The reason this program works is because other people say, well, I trust Ted, let's talk to Ted, he knows more about this than I do.
Now, if the weather cooperates, we'll get some more good stuff put out.
That's right, we need the weather to cooperate with us.
Those other people are farm management instructors. There are about 70 across the state. They are the ones on the front lines in these communities, helping farmers navigate everything from loans to family conflicts.
If we realize that I'm getting in over my head as their advisor, instructor, I've got someplace to turn.
Jim MOLENAAR has worked with farmers his entire career. About 20 years ago, Ted Matthews approached him, concerned because he never once saw a farmer in his practice.
The discussion kind of went, well, I have the best luck when we don't call me a counselor. It's just another person to meet with you at the kitchen table to talk over an issue that you're having on the farm.
Soon, that vision turned into a state-funded full-time therapist position. Now all they needed were clients.
I have never talked to anyone in my life that said that a farmer picked up a phone and said, I need to call a psychologist. Never heard of it.
In fact, it would take years before Ted made inroads with farmers. He had to prove to them there was no catch.
But remember, I can do a lot more than a lot of therapists can do because I'm freed up I don't have the paperwork they have. I can get a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute phone call from people. I don't have to have them come into an office. I don't give them a diagnosis.
Has Ted saved lives?
I'm sure he has. I know personally of times when he's maybe had 2 suicides, someone's threatened or in crisis at the same time, and they could be hundreds of miles apart.
This is a public health issue. It is not an agricultural issue.
Dave Fredrickson is Minnesota's ag commissioner. He's also a 4th-generation farmer.
When you were farming, did you ever once stop and think about your mental health?
No, because I'm a guy, tough guy, and you just kind of blow your nose and wipe your sleeve with your hanky and keep going.
Until one day he went to the doctor with a pain in his stomach. It was an ulcer.
I remember at that moment, all of a sudden just not being able to hold it together. I just broke down, tears. And he said, and we can also help with that too.
The value of it is always after the fact. When it comes to mental health in general, how do people know they're being helped? Well, they know it after.
There are resources out there for farmers, 24/7 hotlines, even trained sheriff's deputies ready to respond in every county. But for real change to happen, Ted says the farmers themselves need to put more stock in their mental health, apply that unwavering work ethic to their well-being.
If we can help people work through some of those issues, that may mean the farm survives and they're still a vibrant person in the community.
And start talking, because someone is listening.
I truly have a passion for this.
I appreciate all the clients that I have. They're salt of the earth people, and the fact that they trust me makes my responsibility much higher.
I guess I would say to farm people, you are important. Find someone you can trust and talk to them. Your issues are not too small to be considered. You're important.
Amy Hockert, Fox 9.
Don't be too proud to ask for help. The Minnesota Department of Ag is asking the legislature to fund an additional full-time position devoted to rural mental health. That funding is going down to the wire right now at the Capitol.
And here's one resource for you. It's a farm and rural helpline, 800-600-2670, right there at the bottom of your screen. It's free, confidential, and it's available 24/7.